नमस्कार आणि येवकार तुमकां आयच्या खाशेल्या कार्यावळीत. फाटल्या म्हयन्यान हांवें एक इंटरव्यू केलो. तो आसलो प्रोजेक्ट हेड ऑफ GTTPL, गोवा तमनार ट्रान्समिशन लायनचे जे प्रोजेक्ट हेड असले तांच्या कडेन उलयलो आनी ताच्या नंतर आमकां खुबसो फीडबॅक आयलो. वाय इज दीस प्रोजेक्ट रिक्वायर्ड? त्या हितूर तांच्यांनी आपली सायड मांडलेली की हो गोंया खातीर कितको इम्पॉर्टंट आसा. बट ऑब्वियसली लोकां मदीं स्टील डाउट्स आसले की कित्याक जाय हो प्रोजेक्ट. म्हणून आमी म्हटलें की लेट अस गो टू दी इंडस्ट्री and let us talk to them and understand whether आताची power line जी आसा आमकां is it sufficient for the industrial requirement and more importantly how this Tamnar line is going to affect the entire development of Goa. म्हणून आमी काही स्टेक होल्डर्सांकडे गेले आणि तांकां विचारलो हो पयलो प्रश्न की जे आताची सध्या पावर रिक्वायरमेंट आसा ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री इज इट सफिशियंट, म्हणजे जे आमकां सरकार किंवा स्टेट गव्हर्मेंट आमकां इंडस्ट्रीक दिता पावर सप्लाय, is it equivalent to the power requirement? And this is the answer that they gave to us.
See, we have to understand one thing, that all this data is scientific. जे पण सेंट्रल इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ऑथॉरिटी आसा न्ही, it forecasts the power requirement for the next 10, 15, 20 years. From that point of view, currently as of today in the year 2020, in Goa, our power requirement or consumption is approximately about 625 megawatts, correct? In 5 years from today, it will go to 750 megawatts. 10 years from today, it will go to 900. 15 years from today, it will go to 1100. So all these scientific forecasts have been made. Ata, are we prepared for the 15 years? Are we prepared for next 5 years? No, we are not. That is why we have to understand that we have a huge deficiency of power. We are not having enough power to meet today's requirement. Forget about tomorrow. So from that point of view, having additional power source is very important from Goa's progress and Goa's future.
In fact, we are running short of power in the state of Goa. Especially our state is, tourism based and coupled with industry. In industry, where the process industry is required, power is required, all three, all three stages, 3 shifts. The most important part is, later part of the day, the power starts dropping down. And that's when we have to make use of alternate energy, either through generator sets, which becomes very, very costly as far as the production is concerned.
Where na industrial estate substation asa ba, it is catering to industrial estate as well as Marmagawa, Majorda and Fatorda. So usually कितें जाता, आमचो रिक्वायरमेंट कितलो आसलो तरी सपोज जर लोड चड जालो खंयच्या बाकीच्या हातून जाल्यार आमचे फिडर ते ऑफ करतात. So basically that we are getting affected by that. Initially power येवपाक problem जातालो because of the conductor was not okay. But last year they have replaced the conductor. So drawing capacity is not an issue right now, but the distribution is a major issue.
The present power consumption of Kundaim is approximately 10 to 15 MVA. Now this power is supplied through 2 big transformers of 10 MVA each. We have one more 10 MVA transformer which is being installed. It should be ready within next 3 to 4 months. So that will definitely suffice the power consumption. Now actual power consumption in 33 kVA is approximately 25 MVA and 11 kVA is around 10 MVA. This 33 kVA is supplied directly from the Ponda substation.
More important, we have recently started some technical units, tech units in IT sector. Now what happens is, most of the time if these BPOs or KPOs, they function as per the time of the other states, other countries where they do the service. And here is where they falter, and that is the reason why this industry doesn't pick up as that much, because the power source is limited.
डेफिनेटली घरान जेन्ना पावर कट जाता तेन्ना आमचे ऑब्वियसली लायफ मातशें डिस्टर्ब जाता. बट when it is for industry and the factories and the manufacturing plants जे आमच्या गोंयांत आसा तांकां जेन्ना हे पावर कट जाता तेन्ना कितके इफेक्ट जाता कितको तांचो लायफ डिस्टर्ब जाता इज इट इक्विवलंट टू द GDP numbers is it equivalent to the manpower or the output that otherwise the industry would have given. This is the second question that I asked to the industry.
Undoubtedly, power cut is the biggest source of loss of production. Financial loss, manpower, hours of manpower loss, and it is huge amount of loss. Let us say if there is a power cut for 5 minutes, doesn't mean that it's only that. Imagine in a production line there are so many things which are happening at a stretch. So once there is a power cut even for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, the wastage of raw material is huge. So taking this into account, we have a huge problem of deficiency of power because of these power cuts happen. Now power cuts happen because of two reasons. One is that the supply which is there is inadequate, there are too many people accessing it, that is why it happens. And second, it also happens because of aged infrastructure. Just to give you some information, because हांवें आतां काडूंक बशिल्लो information, because there was a white paper which was released by the Electricity Department of Goa, and you will be surprised that in the last 10 years, the power consumption of industry has gone up by about 100%. Domestic power consumption has gone up by about 80%, and to meet this 100% or 80% power consumption increase, आमचे पळय जे ट्रान्सफॉर्मर्स आसता किंवा पोल्स आसता किंवा 11 kVA सबस्टेशन्स आसता 33 kVA टावर्स आसता दे हॅव नॉट इवन इनक्रीज्ड बाय 5% and 10%. सो इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर वाडूकूच ना. So we are bound to have power cuts. What is another alarming situation, I was just trying to say, substations, इतलो power consumption वाडला सांगना तुमकां 80% for domestic, 100% for industry. Substations म्हणून आसता न्ही. In the year 2010, आमची 40 substation आशिल्ली, and 2020 they are still only 55. So कसो पावर कट जावचो ना, कशी पावर एडिक्वेट जातली. आमी केन्ना जे पळय 70s गोवा युनियन टेरिटरी आसतना पळय इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर केल्लें ताजेरूच आमी जगता. फक्त हेवटेन तेवटेन वी आर डुईंग लिटल बीट ऑफ मायनर रिपेर्स, सो वीच इज नॉट गोइंग टू सफायज फॉर टुमॉरो.
Now, these are certain things, which are very, very, problem creating. And you said, what are the problems? Basic problem is because of this type of, power shortage and power problem, the units are closing down because they are not in a position to function in a normal environment. And that's the reason why they go to the neighboring states where the power is abundant, especially in Karnataka area. And here is where Goa will falter as far as the industrialization is concerned.
In one of my my own industries where we have to work on Sundays, now they have power cuts for almost about 8 to 10 hours, planned power cuts. Now when these power cuts are there, we have to depend upon the generator, and because of growing cost of diesel, the production becomes very, very expensive, and most probably it is unaffordable.
GTTPL चे प्रोजेक्ट हेड जे असले आमचे त्यांच्यानी एक बरी रिवील केलं की ऑब्वियसली द गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ द डे ऑफ द स्टेट गिव्स प्रायोरिटी टू द डोमेस्टिक कन्झम्पशन, देन सेकंडरी इज द इंडस्ट्री. वेर एज बाकीच्या स्टेट्सांनी जेन्ना आमी पळयता नेबरिंग स्टेट्स म्हणा किंवा बाकीचे स्टेट्स इन अ कंट्री, they give preference to the industry first and then the domestic consumption. How is this affecting the industry? This is what we asked, and this is the answer that we got.
No, obviously, basically what has happened is there are political reasons which take this decision, which has to change. Because the government has to realize that जर आमची GDP वाडोवपाक जाय, employment वाडोवपाक जाय, industry care घेवपाक जाय. Now, you tell me one thing, you are going to charge industry much more than domestic, fine. So domestic fare कमी करपाक, rate कमी दवरपाक, you are going to charge industry. To a limited extent, this cross subsidization is okay. But over a period of time, it has to even out. Na zalyar, we will not be competitive. Industries will not want to be set up in Goa if the rate per unit is going to go on increasing this way. Because we have to keep politics out of industrial development in the state.
In fact, if you see, the rates of the industry are higher than the consumer rates. So we actually subsidize the power, the industry actually subsidizes the power for the consumers. Now, in spite of all these things, if we do not get a normal power supply, a quality power supply, a continuous power supply, then I think it's not done. And the infrastructure is very, very essential, very important.
Government should concentrate on the industry, because today Goa is depending only on the growth from the industries. There is no mining, there is no tourism, so what is left is industries. And if they don't give priority to industries, the government will lose its revenue by way of GST and other taxes also, because productivity goes down.
The industry has to be given a priority. And in Verna, after this power minister who came, we are doing lot of improvements. Like we are splitting up now Mazota feeder separate, so that that cut off, because of other breakdowns, industry is not going to affect. So we have told him that we will support him, but right now because of the financial crunches also, the additional power this.
Giving priority to the industrial sector as far as power is concerned, it will definitely enhance the productivity. Of course, the people are also important, but then government has to look at the priorities from their side also.
We need to have alternate means of production in the state itself. But I am sure the renewable energy will not be able to meet the demands. So naturally, the other source of production of power has to be accepted and has to be put in practice.
सरकार म्हणटा की ऑब्वियसली नवे इंडस्ट्रीज येवंक जाय, नवे SEZ सुरू जाता, नवे प्लॉट्स रेडी जाता, ऑब्वियसली इन्व्हेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन बोर्डाच्या माध्यमांतल्यान नवे फॅक्टरीज, नवे इन्व्हेस्टमेंटाक हांगासर आफयतात. बट ऑब्वियसली जेन्ना ते येता आनी तेन्ना पॉवर कन्झम्पशनाचो तेंचा किंवा बाकीचे बेसीक निड्साचे जे आसा तेन्ना जेन्ना तेंचो प्रश्न येता तेन्ना ऑब्वियसली आर वी एबल टू गिव देम वॉट दे रिक्वायर. आनी इफ द इंडस्ट्रीज डोंट कम, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जातले, ऑब्वियसली आमची इकॉनॉमी रोल जातली, आणि हे बाकीचे आमच्या डेली इकॉनॉमीक किंवा आमच्या लायफाचेर कितको इम्प्लिमेंट करता, हो प्रश्न हांवें जेन्ना इंडस्ट्रीक विचारलो तेन्ना हे म्हाका तांचे व्ह्यूज आयकपाक मेळ्ळे.
I, being also part of a member of the Investment Promotion Board, IPB, we get proposals to set up industries in Goa. IPB clears a proposal which will generate, say, 500, 700, 300 लोकांचो employment. ताका जागो मेळटा, ताजेर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंट कमेंट मारून धाडटा, तुमी अप्रूव करा, बट वी डोंट हॅव पॉवर टू गिव. हाऊ विल दिस युनिट सी द लायट ऑफ द डे? If one arm of the government is not going to give power, how will the industry come up? Industries are आयले ना, job कशे create जातले? Everybody cannot be dependent only on government jobs. We require jobs to be created in the private sector, and unless we have power, industries will not come up. Industries do not come up, Goans will not get jobs. So it is a vicious circle which we have to understand, that we require power.
It is but natural that whenever I want to invest my money, I would like to see that the rate of return is also there along with my investments. So when will that be? When there is a proper infrastructure. And what is this infrastructure I look into? It is not only the land. Land is only one part of it, and it is basic need. But then what is more important and continuously important is power, water, telecommunication, then the commuting parameters like the road network. Incidentally, we are very blessed. We have port, we have airport, we have road, we have railway. But at the same time, the basic need is that of power and water. If these two things are not met, then of course the other things have got no meaning, because entire the process works on power. I don't think any industry which can work without the use of power. And if the power is shortcoming, if the power, of course it's not just the power, there is need for quality power. That's very, very important, because if there is no quality power, then the machines will falter. We will not be able to do the production.
See, now many people want to come for the expansion. You might take an example of Molbio. They are coming up with a big plant here. Yesterday only he was telling me 3.5 MV power is required. But right now that power is not available here. So he has to go for a generator or some other source which is not practical. He could have expanded, but because of the power shortage, they can't expand. So this is a practical difficulty. And there are a lot of cuts also, that also hampers the production. Power ना म्हणटकीर कितें जाता, power जर तुका continuous guarantee ना, आतां new connection they can't give a guarantee. New कोण येतलो जाल्यार तितलो power guarantee ना. So people for expansion they think about other states alternative.
Power is the backbone of the industry. And when power is, quality power is not available, people, the bigger industries, or what we can say is mother industries, will not prefer to come to Goa because there is no steady power. What industry requires is steady power. If steady power is supplied, then there will be definitely bigger industries coming to Goa, and when the bigger industries come, then there are other ancillary units which get developed automatically. And when the ancillary units get developed, there is a scope for employment, there is a scope for a better economy, and overall economy improves.
आता कमिंग टू द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट क्वेश्चन, हो जो तमनार लायन जी येता ऑब्वियसली फ्रॉम साऊथ गोवा, इज इट गोना केटर, इज इट गोना हेल्प, और इज इट गोना बिल्ड द इकॉनॉमी? सध्या आता फाटल्या एक वर्स आमी पळयता पॅन्डेमिकांतल्यान सगळी इकॉनॉमी अक्रॉस द कंट्री, अक्रॉस द ग्लोब हॅज बीन अफेक्टेड. बट can this Tamnar line help us to build Goa for the next generation?
Tamnar has become a sort of a villain आणि एक व्हडलो असो आगसो जाला तो तमनार. मोस्ट पीपल विदाउट अंडरस्टँडिंग फक्त झाडां मारतले, हे मारतले, ते मारतले. येस, देर इज बाउंड टू बी अ लिटल बिट ऑफ अ tree felling and so called damage to the environment. But I think that has to be compensated, which there is a plan in place to compensate for the environmental loss. Because we have to understand one thing, that there is something called a national power grid from where all the states draw their power. Okay, and this national power grid is owned by Power Grid Corporation of India. So आता सध्या गोंयान कितें जालां, आमचे कोलवाळे एक 400 kVA पावर ग्रिडाचें सबस्टेशन आसा, कळ्ळें? कोलवाळे म्हापशां, they have got this station. That is the one from where we get the major power of 400 kVA. Plus we get from 110 kVA line here and there. जशें हे तमनाराची जर आनी 400 kVAची लायन जर आयली, which is also belonging to the Power Grid Corporation, जाल्यार हे 400 plus ते 400 मिळून we will be doubling our power supply to Goa, and which will take care of entire power requirement at least for the next 15 to 20 years. जेन्ना हे प्लॅनिंग केलां आनी हे प्लॅनिंग ओवरनायट जावंक ना, दिस हॅज बीन हॅपनिंग फॉर द लास्ट 6, 7, 8, 10 years. इतले प्लॅनिंग करून आनी ही तमनार लायन ती गोंया खातीर वेगळी लायन ती काडनात. इट इज बी कमिंग फ्रॉम समवेअर नियर झारखंड, आनी इट इज ऑफ hundreds and thousands of kilometers. So why should we have only problem to put up only a few poles in the state of Goa? Because we have to think beyond. तुमकां नाका जाल्यार ते म्हणटले तुमी करा जाय ते बाबा, manage yourself. The line will go on. So we have to see, it is in the interest of Goa, it is in the interest of industrial growth in Goa, and for every person who doesn't have any industrial benefit, it is necessary that our next generation will be happy that we got this power to Goa. Otherwise, they will have to live with blackouts, power cuts, like it is happening in some backward states. So let us have this Tamnar project coming to Goa, is what I would say from industrial point of view, as well as from domestic point of view.
See, basically we don't have a power source coming from the South Goa side. आता मेन आमची पावर लायन आहा ती नॉर्थ गोवाक येता. सो हांवें पयलीं स्टेटमेंट दिल्लो की तामनार प्रोजेक्ट वील सपोर्ट द साउथ गोवा, स्पेशली वेर्ना इंडस्ट्रियल इस्टेट. But because of that issue about the thing, I had suggested that existing line आसा पळय ती 100 kVAची, ताचेरूच टावर, त्या पॉयंटारूच टावर चेंज करून तीच लायन यूज करपाची, which later on power minister gets statement also. But we have to support this project, what I feel, because in future if you want power, then we have to support this. कित्याक मागीर कितें जातलें पळय बिकॉज दीस एंटायर प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट इज borne by the central government. We are not getting any this on that. Only thing about is the this. If we take proper care of that, we have seen all over the world that power lines are crossing the thing, but proper care has to be taken so that minimum damages happen. So this is what has to be jointly decided. People should not just object to this.
Yes, I am sure that this Tamnar project will be the answer for the current shortcomings of the state, and not only that, it will bring light in many parts of the state where still there is less of it. Now, for example, I was recently visiting this Mole part itself. There itself, the people told me that lots of houses, they have power problem. They have road problem. And there are a lot of accidents happening there in that darkness and all that, where the vehicles, heavy vehicles come from that area. So this is what they only told me. It's not my creation. And if this is so, then naturally what will be the answer? Answer is power generation.
Tanmar project is being looked at as future requirements catering to the industry as well as the other requirements of Goa. Now today the mining is stopped, but once the mining starts in full swing, the industries start in full swing, then we cannot afford to have power losses or power cuts like what is there today. If the power cuts are avoided, and with the help of Tanmar project, once this steady power comes into the state, then quality of industry production and everything will definitely develop very well, and it will give an added advantage to Goa.
I have gone through their structural drawings and process, how they are going to put this in process, and I am sure that they have made a lot of work. I mean, a lot of homework has been undertaken. Last 5 years they have been working. I think from 2015 this project is in pipeline, and now as it is in the final stages, I am sure there has to be a push for it, there has to be a final go ahead for it, and if it doesn't come, then we are definitely going to be sufferers, and lots of industry might think of closures because non-viability of functioning, and if that happens, the unemployment would be created. And who would answer this question, that who is responsible for this?
New about 23 lakh square meter SEZ let घेतल्या. थंय जर परत न्यू इंडस्ट्री येतल्या तांकां power requirement आसा. So from where that power requirement will come? And it's not only the Tamnar line, internal transmission line also has to be improved, which they have done as far as the from Ponda and Shelda to Verna, the conductor is replaced, but the power station also needs to be upgraded.
I think we ourselves who oppose this would be the the factors, main factors for the cause. So I feel I for one I would support this project wholeheartedly, because it will bring light on the face of the the common man, and also it will help generate extra power that is very much required. And we have been making attempts to bring in new investments, new industry, where from they would get this power to start if there is no additional power.
बरेचदा आम्ही ऐकतो की GDP numbers, obviously when you have power, when you have basic need, when you have industries to come, when you have great employment generation here in the state, does it affect the GDP numbers?
No, obviously, see, GDP is the output of industrial growth, correct, and consumption and all other things. Jar industries आयल्यो, development will happen, employment will be generated, people will get paid, people will spend the money, retail sector will come up. So it is a vicious circle. So because power is not there, we are not getting investment. Also keep in mind one thing, one of the very important industry in Goa is tourism, correct? आम्ही उलयता ते सगळे normal उलयता. There is something called a peak load. We are having a huge problem during tourist season. Which is the time when tourism industry makes money, allied businesses make money, which money flows into the GDP of Goa, which helps increase the GDP of Goa. हे सगळे पै करपा खातीर आमकां power जाय, and today we are suffering because we don't have enough power. We have power cuts, hotels are not getting enough power, restaurants are having problems, all these things. So I think power is the bone of contention over here. We need additional power for the state of Goa. It's very, very clear about that.
वेल हे असले इंडस्ट्रीचे पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह ऑन द वेरियस क्वेश्चन्स दॅट आय थॉट आणि आम्ही सोशल मिडियाचेर जे आम्ही ऐकले किंवा वाचले ताज्या नंतर जो फीडबॅक आमकां आयलो ताजेर आम्ही आवर्जून इंडस्ट्री कडेन गेले आणि त्यांचे मतां आयकपाचो प्रयत्न केलो. In the next episode, definitely we'll go to the tourism sector, that is the backbone of the Goan economy. आणि तांकांय विचारतले की होटेल इंडस्ट्री म्हणा किंवा बाकीचे जे allied services आसा, will this Tamnar line help? We will try to debug in the next episode. तोपर्यंत खंय वचनाकात, पळयत रावात प्रुडंट. नमस्कार.